JJ, as I guess kind of pairing these together, do you have anything more on Luka? And then, how were you guys able to rally without him, especially after Philly, I think, was like 6-0 run before you called timeout to start the third quarter? And, must have been some kind of emotional loss just not having Luka out there to start the half.
Yeah, he, felt some soreness in his hamstring. So, he didn't feel like it was good enough to go back in. Neither did medical. So we held him out, and he'll get some imaging. I mean, too early to say if there's an injury, but just had a sore hamstring. So just in terms of the the group, I thought there were starting with Luka having to come out of the game. I think there was a lot of things that didn't go right that game, and it wasn't necessarily like out of effort or execution, but we had a lot of turnovers, and that really hurt us in the first half where you shoot 50%, but you have, I think it was 13 turnovers, including the team turnovers, which gave them a lot of life. And then the group that closed, and really everybody that was out there in the second half, I thought our toughness and our physicality really just allowed us to get back in the game. Maxey made a number of plays that don't necessarily show up on the box score, but you had a Gortat on AR in the first half, had the Gortat to help close the game with LeBron's dunk down the middle, and just played great defense. I thought his while Maxey scored some, I thought his containment when he switched on to Maxey was Tyrese Maxey, that is, was really good. And our whole bench, Rui with some big shots in the second half, Vando, Smart, Jake, those guys. It was their toughness that really got us going.
Obviously, you had Austin on the minutes limit, and he was so efficient in the minutes that you had. What was that kind of tug of war of trying to buy some time? No Luka, and Austin's in the bench.
We're just going to keep him on a 25-minute limit if he's going to score 35. I mean, he was unbelievable tonight, and it's just his drives. I know he made threes tonight and hit a couple that were pretty incredible, but his drives and his thrust. Got to the free throw line, but just got in the paint and made plays and scored at the rim. It was great to see.
Yeah. What did you say to your team after a win like that, where so many guys were doing little things to contribute to it? What was kind of the message?
Well, everybody gets credit for it. Maxey certainly got some credit, and I thought again, those guys I kind of singled out. Their toughness really helped us kind of gut out a win to me. They played really good together basketball on both ends, and it's a night where Embiid had it going, and there's not a lot you can do in the middle of the floor. It's just not, and it didn't matter if we kept a primary matchup or if we switched on to him or if we pre-switched. It just he was really good tonight. And the one thing, I don't know what they ended up with 5. Yeah, it was like, do you make an adjustment? Do you because we did make adjustments throughout the game, but do you front and back them and make them throw it over the top? Do you fire? And they made a lot of 2s tonight, and so as long as you're sort of living with the contested 17 to 18 footers, and you're in the game, you feel like you got a chance.
Austin was self-deprecating with us in Brooklyn, saying he scored 15 points, but didn't feel like he had a rhythm. Can you contextualize just how impressive it is to go from that missing 19 games straight to, he had one of his strongest games of the year today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big difference between a couple weeks of stay ready games playing against Bo Levesque and Jadarius Troutman and Matt Noling and those guys, all very respectable players, but they are not VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey and Quentin Grimes. Like it's remarkable what he was able to do tonight in his second game back.
I asked this in respect to Maxey, but I'm sure this could apply to other guys on the team. How much is toughness and the, ability to stay ready, even when you're not in the rotation regularly, how much of that is a skill?
It is a skill to I think know who you are as a player and embrace what the team needs. I think that's a skill, to be honest with you. I know that potentially is also a mindset, but it's also a skill. And Maxey, it doesn't matter if he's played and had a big impact and then is a DNP the next game, or even when he was battling through some injuries to start the season. His spirit, his approach, his being a teammate and rooting for other people, it never changes. He's just, for all our guys, he's a easy guy to root for.
JJ, the trade with Atlanta went official. Yeah, so you can talk about it now, I guess. Just what was your reaction to getting Luke Kennard and also to losing Gabe Vincent?
Well, I think I'll start with Gabe. His teammates loved him. His coaches loved him. Really just from a professionalism standpoint, just embodied everything that is good about this game. And, I do think the way he finished last season and the way he started preseason, we all felt like that he was going to really have like a breakout year for us here. And unfortunately just, had a bunch of injuries, and he's a good player and an even better person. And we're all, I've told Gabe this many times, we're all grateful that, we got to work with him and be around him. And I told him that this morning as well. We're very appreciative of him. Excited about Luke. I've known him for 12, I guess about 12 years now. And think he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. I'm going to highly encourage him to shoot more and not turn down shots. But I think one of the underrated parts of his game is his ability to move and create second actions and move the basketball. And you've seen that now at a number of his stops where you can initiate the offense through a off-ball movement, and he will just make the right play and sort of get the offense going. So he'll be a corner threat, and he'll be an off-ball threat, and we're excited to have him.
Hey, JJ, just a lineup question of curiosity. Obviously, Tuesday night, Austin started that second half. Even with Luka not being available for the second half, you went with Rui. What made you feel like that was the thing to do tonight? And how do you feel like that all worked out as far as how you manage your second half rotations and lineups?
Yeah, we wanted to win the game, and we wanted Austin to be able to finish the game. He was on a 24 minutes restriction. We eked out 25, so we thought, starting him, we would have to get him out right away, and then for him to be able to finish the game. So we were trying to manage those first few minutes before we could get him in, and they made that early run, and we got it right back to, I think, 10 or 8, whatever it was. I know we were down 14, so and then we were able to get him in, and he kind of just led us from there.
Team was down by double figures midway through the third quarter, and obviously we're able to flip the script. What did you see change during that moment?
Urgency, for one. We came out, especially, Luka went down. We realized, we was missing a very important piece, so we knew we was going to have to rally together, and that's what we did. We didn't collapse. We stayed together. We listened to what the coaches had for us, the game plan, and we stuck with it.
Marcus, what can you say about Maxey's performance? He sometimes he doesn't always play, but he comes in today. Contributed on the boards, passing. Just what can you say about his overall performance and staying ready?
The ultimate professional. There's a reason why Maxey is still in this league, still playing, and this is a reason why he's on this team with us, and it's the reason why we celebrate him the way we do, because he comes in every day, no matter what. And he gives that, whether it's in practice, whether it's in the game, whether he plays 2 minutes, whether he plays 20. So we enjoy watching Maxey do that because we know how hard he works and we know what he's going to give every night. So that's nothing of a surprise from us. We're just excited to see him out there getting a chance to do it.
Marcus, kind of on that note, you're a vet. You've seen variety of careers. What makes that, I guess, so challenging for guys to stay ready regardless of, like say you play 2 minutes one night, you play, I don't have it in front of me, but 20 plus minutes another. What makes that so difficult? How much of that is a skill?
It's a big time skill actually, because we all come into this league as the top of the top at one point of our lives, being the man, and you got to adapt. We all can't be the man, and you got to adapt. And I think that's the skill of it, understanding things isn't going to go always perfect 100% the way I want it. I just got to find out where I fit in and try to make an impact, and that's what he does very well, and that's why vets are important.
Hey Marcus, a two-parter here, but you and some of the other guys talked in recent weeks just about the vibe around the trade deadline being weird, just some guys not knowing where they're going to be. Now that it's passed and you guys could just focus on basketball, how much is it like, not like a sigh of relief, but just like just knowing that you don't have to worry about that anymore? And then also you played with Luke Kennard in Memphis, so what do you think he could bring to this team?
To answer your first question, I think for everybody it affects them differently. Some people it is a sigh of relief, and others it's just another day for them. So just being able to understand whatever helps you get over, whatever helps you cope with that, understanding it and doing it day in and day out. And then playing with Luke, it was a pleasure to play with Luke in Memphis. One of the better shooters in this league. And he comes to work every day, and I'm excited to see him out here with us again, me and Jake, and kind of keep going what we had in Memphis.
Hey Marcus, 35 points for Austin in about 25 minutes. You've been here now for over half a season. Just can you speak about the performance he had tonight, and do these performances surprise you anymore from him?
No, I don't think these performances surprise anybody, and they shouldn't. AR has made a name for himself. And he was a big part of this team. We missed him, and I think it shows. To come in, the way he did and insert himself was something we needed, especially with Luka going down. So we're definitely not surprised. And like I said, anybody in this league that is surprised about AR and his ability, it's a shame.
Hi, Marcus. So you had a pretty unselfish moment in like about 8 minutes left in the game, having that open look and then finding Jared instead, and then moments after having back-to-back threes. Can you just speak to how you choose to distinguish when you're going to take that moment for yourself and then when you're going to give it to your teammate?
Just play the game the right way. The game rewards that. We all could go out here and try to go for 30 and shoot 20 shots, but that's not what the game promotes. And I've always played the game the right way and pride myself on it. And especially a guy like me who plays defense a lot and doesn't really isn't really involved offensively that much. To be able to find Vando, and kind of get him, a touch and get him going was big, because I understand that feeling of, working yourself to death without any recognition, without any, anything to congratulate you or, any praises of that aspect, especially when it comes to on the offensive end. So I just wanted him to understand, if I could play unselfishly, this is how the game is supposed to be played, and it does wonder the basketball guys reward that.
Marcus, forgive me, I missed the first maybe question or two, but Luka obviously had the early exit. JJ didn't have an official update on the injury. He'll get imaging soon, but what's the level of concern just for him, and if he is out for whatever period of time, what will the rest of the team have to do during that period?
We don't really know. He went off the court, and we had to finish the game. So unfortunately, we didn't get the chance to try to see how bad it was. But we're hopefully it's not that bad. We hopefully he's okay, and he can get right to us. But if he's going to be out, obviously, it's going to take everybody to tighten up even more. And it does help, to have AR back, if that is the case. But it's definitely going to take a full team effort now, more than ever, if he is out for a long period of time. So.
You talked about how I think in Brooklyn after the first shift, like right away, how you just like wanted to sit down. Was that kind of where the wind was tonight? And if so, how did you kind of push through it?
It's always the first 4 minutes of the game when you haven't been playing too much. It just you get tired fast, and then after that, kind of the second wind kicks in, adrenaline kicks in when it's a game like tonight, and then you just focus on trying to win the game.
There are shots and plays throughout the game that matter. The three you made at the end of the shot clock, where the ball was in your hand for maybe Can you just take me through that play and kind of what you looked at the bench and kind of what the reaction was?
I don't know. Maxie threw me a ball with like 1.1 seconds left, maybe. So I just chucked it at the rim and it went in, and then celebrated. It's fun.
You had mentioned to us that you were able to get a little bit more time in the weight room. Obviously, you couldn't do as much stuff with your lower body. Do you feel any additional confidence on drives, just kind of knowing that even if it's a little bit more muscle is there? JJ talked about kind of how the drives today were especially key.
I don't know. I kind of just feel normal. Just feel like myself playing basketball.
You were pretty, I guess, self-critical of yourself after the Brooklyn game, just being like, you didn't really have much rhythm out there, but tonight you looked like, the guy you were the first month and a half of the season. Did you surprise yourself at all in terms of how quickly you got back to form?
No, I mean, like I told Mike on the court, when you get hurt, obviously there's a period where you don't do much, and then for the last 2, maybe 3 weeks, I've been grinding. I mean, I've played many what we call stay ready games. Me, Dalton, Ronnie, and Nick, Timmy, Maxie. I felt bad for them at one point because we were playing every other day, and then they had to suit up for a game. I didn't have to do that, but just the amount of time I actually played, I felt like I was got a good rhythm from that. So I didn't really. I mean, you don't expect to, be great right off the bat, but I felt like we did a good job of, trying to keep as much rhythm as we could.
What's the personal satisfaction? You miss a lot of time, and then you come back and you contribute big time to a win after missing all those games. How gratifying for you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, winning's the main thing, regardless of, stats. At the end of the day, did you win or lose? That's kind of how I look at the game. There's not many moral victories. You could go have a great game and lose, and I'm not gonna say nobody really cares, because there's people out there that just look at stats, but people that actually know basketball and appreciate the right things in basketball care about winning basketball, and that's what I kind of prided myself on playing my whole career, is trying to play the right way and have fun on the court.
Just concern level with Luka.
Concern?
Or just what's the concern level?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I talked to him a little bit at halftime. I say a little bit. I walked by him and asked him if he was okay, and kind of just looked at me, and I had to go play. So, hopefully nothing major. We need him. He's our best player and the engine to a lot of the stuff we do. So hopefully we get good news tomorrow, and I wish him nothing but the best, and needs anything here.
That 6-0 run, how did you guys recover mentally or emotionally from that point on and come away with the win?
Yeah, I think it was like, next man up. I think he obviously got hurt. We didn't know what was going on, and I think we talk about it in the game. We gotta stick together. We were in a kind of bad rhythm too. The first half. So we just got back. And we got this dub. So.
Maxie was talking about the message at halftime being about like we should just be more physical. How did you feel like that was brought by pretty much everyone out on the court? Mm-hmm. And is that a style of play that if you guys lean into it more in this final stretch of the season, you can find more success?
Yeah, especially if stuff started from him, today. And the Vendo too, you guys saw that he fouled like 3 times being the physical, that position. And we got stopped too, actually. But that kind of set the standard, especially in the second half. And we everybody was physical, being a physical, especially the Maxi, he did a really good job on the Embiid and everybody else, those, the offense rebound and stuff. So yeah, he made a big play today.
Rui, I mean, you're a veteran player now. How much have you found being physical? How much is that a skill, and how much of that is a mindset?
Yeah, it's I think every year kind of, the NBA changed the rules, so being those like a physicality, that this is like what's the foul and that, kind of we always figure it out every year. But, I think this year, the referees letting us fighting more, and being physical. So for us, I think that's what we need. We talk about it since the season started, that's going to be the key for us, every game, play hard and be physical. So I think those games that we win in, I think most of the time we've been very physical, so I think we got to keep doing that.
Hey, Rui. JJ said like a month or so ago how you're always ready to take the shot, like no matter if you don't get a few shots in like for a few minutes. Yeah.
Today, 5 shots today,
Well, but you always show up in the big moments, so I guess I'm wondering, how do you always stay so sharp and like what's going through your mind? Yeah.
Honestly, I got used to it, This is the 4th season here, like this is how we be playing, so I think that at first, of course I didn't know what to do, with it, but I think shout out to Phil Handy, he talked to me a lot of things, about playing with these superstars, how it goes, and I think for me it's just like, I think I got used to it, and whenever it's my turn, I know I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make some plays, whatever. So I'm just always stay ready, in my mind, it's so hard to be in like just up and down the court, but trying to involve in the defense side, rebound. Today I tried to be more involved to rebound too, so that's why trying to kind of keep in the game. Yeah.
So Rui, you took 7 shots, but it seemed like there was a stretch you took all 7 at one time. How did you know when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive?
It was funny because during the timeout, I had only 2 shots or something until that. But this one guy, from my Coinman guy, he told me that I'm gonna score 12 points, after the timeout, and I really did. So shout out to him. He was the guy, a Coinman guy, Brian. Yeah, he told me that. So yeah, shout out to him.
Rui, the Gabe Vincent Luke Kennard trade went official mid-game. For you, what did Gabe mean to you as a teammate, and then what do you think Luke can add to this team?
Yeah, Gabe, I'm gonna miss him. He was a great teammate. He was one of the leaders in here. He brought us a lot of energy, good energy, positive energy. No matter what, up and down. He always trying to kept us, in the right direction, and he was a very big part of our team, chemistry. So for sure we're gonna miss him. And the Luke, yeah, he's one of the best shooters in the league. So he's gonna bring us, of course, we've been struggling the 3 points this whole season. So he's gonna bring us more, spacing and all that. Playing with the Luka, Braun, and AS back too. So I think we're excited for him too.
Last 3, we're gonna end with Akiko and
I'll go. Rui, you guys have so many power forward type players. There's you, there's Jared. Maxey played as well as he did tonight. Jake starting. I'm sure I'm missing some guys. Like, what's the key, especially with you coming off the bench lately, to all those guys getting the most out of their complementary skills?
I think, those guys, like you just mentioned, including me, myself, I think we have to be physical, that's going to change this game, I think, especially coming off the bench, we got to bring the energy. Me, Vandal, we have the lengths, the strength and everything, so we talk about every game, we gotta bring the energy, me and him's gonna be the X factors in this team, so we gotta kind of always focus on, the start of the game and kind of watch. We can kind of see the game, how this coming, how this go, the referees and like players and all kind of stuff. So I think those kind of stuff we always talk about, and it's been helping.
last 2.
お疲れ様です。今日トレード期限が過ぎて、このトレード期限って傍から見てると今までの中で一番八村選手のトレードの噂っていうのが出てたと思うんですけれども、それが過ぎたことで、そのコントロールできることをコントロールするっていうのはずっとおっしゃってましたけれども、やっぱりそれでも過ぎたらほっとした部分がありますか？
そうですね。こうやって、ソーシャルメディアとかもいろいろ出てくるんですけど、僕がこの7年間で学んだことは、そのソーシャルメディアに出ている、例えばトレードとかの噂でソーシャルメディアに出てることは大体違うことなので、絶対いつも違う方に行くのでそういうところに惑わされないというか、それを見て、そう考えても仕方ないっていう思ってるので、僕は、そういうことも、チームでもそういうことがビジネスの一つだってものを僕も理解してますし、そういうことが起きたら起きただと思ってるので、でも今回こうやって、チーム、4年目というか、もうその3シーズンフルでもう 終えることができると思うので、僕としてもすごい嬉しいですし、レイカーズとこうやっていろいろ関係もよくできているので、そのまま続けていきたいなと思いますね。
Thank you. 遠征を5勝3敗という好成績で終えて、かなり移動とかも大変だったと思うんですけれども、それプラス、トレード、そんなに大きく選手が変わらなく終わって、八村選手もすごい調子を上げてきているんですけれども、今、もうすぐもう後半戦にプレーオフに向けて、チームはどんな状態でやっていけそうな感じですか？
そうですね、今ルカも怪我してしまったんですけど、その状態がどうなるかっていうのも大きいかなと思うんですけど、このオールスターブレイクまで4試合ホームであるので連続で、そこをしっかり取ってオールスターでしっかり休んでから、その最後のプレーオフのプッシュに向けたいなと思いますね。